Phishing is a type of online scam where criminals send an email that appears to be from a legitimate company and ask you to provide sensitive information. This is usually done by including a link that will appear to take you to the company's website to fill in your information. But the website is a clever fake, and the information you provide goes straight to the crooks behind the scam. Skimming fraud is a type of white-collar crime that involves taking cash from a business before it's entered into the accounting system. This is often referred to as an off-book fraud because the theft occurs before the cash is recorded in the bookkeeping system. As a result, it's never reported on the company's accounting records. Individuals can also fall victim to this type of fraud through ATM, debit card, or credit card skimming. Pharming is a type of cyber attack that redirects users to fraudulent websites or manipulates their computer systems to collect sensitive information. In pharming attacks, malicious individuals or groups utilize various techniques to deceive users and lead them to counterfeit websites that closely resemble legitimate ones, such as online banking portals, retail shopping platforms, or social media networks. Vishing, short for voice phishing, is a type of fraud where scammers call you and attempt to trick you into sharing personal information, sending them money, or giving them remote access to your computer. They often pretend to be a company or government agency that you trust. Once they have you on the phone, they try to manipulate you in various ways. Scammers use human psychology to trigger their victims' stress responses and cloud their judgment. SMS fraud, or smishing, is a type of scam where fraudsters use text messages to trick people into giving them personal information or money. These messages often appear to come from a trusted source, like your bank or a familiar brand. The message might ask you to click on a link, call a phone number, or reply to the text. How does it work? Let's take an example. You might receive a text message that appears to be from your bank. The message warns you about suspicious activity on your account and asks you to call a certain number. When you call, you're actually speaking to the fraudsters, not your bank. Lottery scams are a type of fraud where scammers trick people into believing they've won a large amount of money or a big prize. The excitement of winning often causes victims to let their guard down, making them easy targets for these scams. Such scammers usually contact their victims via email, telephone, or social media, informing them that they've won a lottery prize. The scammer then asks the victim to pay a fee for taxes, shipping and handling charges, or processing fees to claim the prize. If the victim pays, they lose their money and find out there is no prize. Credit card fraud is when someone uses another person's credit card or card information without their permission to make unauthorized purchases or access funds. This can happen in various ways, such as through physical theft, online scams, or data breaches. Romance scams are a type of online fraud where criminals pose as potential partners on dating platforms or social media to exploit emotionally vulnerable individuals. These scammers create attractive profiles and use manipulative tactics to gain the victim's trust and eventually their money. Scammers often start by baiting victims with attractive profiles. They then groom the victims by creating a sense of intimacy. Once the victim is emotionally invested, the scammers create crises or urgent scenarios that require financial help. Real estate fraud is a serious issue that affects many people, especially in the United States. It occurs when individuals or agencies provide false information for fraudulent real estate transactions. This type of fraud can take many forms and can have devastating effects on homeowners, investors, and property firms alike. One common type of real estate fraud is value fraud, where a seller provides a buyer with false information about the real estate property's actual value. Investment fraud is a deceptive practice in the stock or commodities markets that induces investors to make purchase or sale decisions on the basis of false information, frequently resulting in losses in violation of securities laws. One of the most infamous examples of investment fraud in the US is the case of Sam Bankman-Fried, founder of the collapsed cryptocurrency trading platform FTX. He was found guilty of 7 counts of fraud and conspiracy, including wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. An advance fee scam is a form of fraud where scammers ask you for an upfront payment with the promise of receiving something of greater value later. The scammer might promise you a significant share of a large sum of money, a loan, a job offer, or even a gift. But after you make the payment, you receive little or nothing in return. According to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, every year, they receive thousands of complaints describing advance fee fraud. Employment scams or job scams are fraudulent schemes designed to deceive job seekers. Scammers often impersonate legitimate companies or recruiters, offering attractive employment opportunities that don't actually exist. Here's how it typically works. The scammer reaches out to you, often through job search sites like LinkedIn or Indeed. They say you have the exact skill set they're looking for and invite you for a virtual interview. After the interview, they send you an official-looking job offer letter, complete with the company's name and logo. But after offering you the job, they'll ask for your money or personal information. Online product selling scams are a type of internet fraud where scammers pretend to be legitimate online sellers. They may set up fake websites or post fake ads on genuine retail sites. The anonymity of the internet allows these scammers to deceive unsuspecting shoppers. One common scam involves fake payments and bogus refund requests. A scammer, posing as a buyer, insists on paying through a mobile payment app. They send a fake payment notification, hoping you'll send the item before realizing it's a scam. Rental scams are a type of fraud that's unfortunately quite common. Scammers trick potential tenants into paying for properties that either aren't for rent, don't exist, or aren't as they appear in the listing. Scammers often use two main tactics. First, they might hijack legitimate rental listings, claiming to be the landlord when they're not. Alternatively, they might create entirely fake listings for properties that don't exist or aren't available. In both cases, the scammer will rush the victim into paying an application fee, deposit, or even the first month's rent, promising to hand over the keys immediately. However, once the payment is made, the scammer disappears, leaving the victim without their money and with no place to move into. Ponzi schemes are based on fraudulent investment management services. They promise investors higher returns than traditional investments. Here's how it works. Investors contribute money to the portfolio manager, the person running the scheme, who promises them a high return. When those investors want their money back, they are paid out with the incoming funds contributed by later investors. The person who organizes this type of fraud is in charge of controlling the entire operation. But rather than put the money into a type of investment that earns interest, they merely transfer funds from one client to another and forgo any real investment activities. In a fake check scam, someone you don't know asks you to deposit a check. The check is usually for more than they owe you, and it's sometimes for several $1,000s. They tell you to send some of the money back to them or to another person. They always have a good story to explain why you can't keep all the money, but this is a scam. Catfishing is a form of online deception where someone pretends to be a different person than they actually are. The goal is often to make the victim fall in love with the catfish. Once the catfish obtains the victim's trust, they might ask the victim for money or for valuable information. There are often some signals that give away a catfish. These include avoiding video calls and face-to-face meetings, having very few friends or followers, using only professional or stolen pictures, and asking for money or explicit images. Website spoofing, also known as URL spoofing, is a type of cyber attack where fraudsters create a fraudulent website that closely resembles a legitimate one. The goal of this deception is to trick users into thinking they're interacting with a trusted site, leading them to willingly provide sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, or credit card details. Donation scams or charity fraud is when scammers pose as charitable organizations to take advantage of your generosity. They often use high-profile disasters or urgent causes to tug at your heartstrings and make their scams seem more legitimate. Scammers can reach you in many ways: emails, social media posts, crowdfunding platforms, cold calls, etc. They might even create fake websites or social media channels that mimic a legitimate charity. Pension fraud is a type of scam where fraudsters illegally obtain money from pension funds. This can happen in various ways, such as by stealing the identities of pensioners, manipulating pension fund investments, or by employers failing to make the required contributions to their employees' pension funds. Bank account and transfer fraud is a type of cybercrime where criminals gain unauthorized access to an individual's bank account and make unauthorized transactions. This type of fraud can occur through various methods, including phishing scams, malware, and identity theft. Cryptocurrency investment scams are a type of internet fraud that targets potential investors in the digital currency market. Scammers often promise huge gains and use various tactics to lure victims into fraudulent crypto investments. Scammers exploit various schemes to trick victims. They may start with offers of investment tips or secrets in online message boards that lead people to bogus investment websites. Another common form of the scam involves a promise that a celebrity associated with cryptocurrency will multiply any cryptocurrency you send to their wallet and send it back. Insurance fraud is a widespread issue in the US, costing businesses, insurers, and consumers billions each year. It involves intentional deception throughout the insurance process, from policy purchase to claim settlement. One common type of insurance fraud is the sale of fake insurance policies. In this scam, fraudsters pose as legitimate insurance agents and sell bogus policies to unsuspecting consumers. Internet fraud also involving fake drugs and medical services, which is a serious issue affecting millions of people worldwide. Counterfeit drugs are often sold online at cheaper prices, enticing people to buy them. However, these drugs can be extremely dangerous as they may contain incorrect doses, wrong ingredients, or even toxic substances. Stock fraud, or securities fraud, involves deceiving investors or manipulating financial markets. Fraudsters might spread false information about a company to inflate its stock price. They then sell their own shares while the price is high, causing the price to plummet and other investors to lose money. In the age of fake news and digital currencies, stock fraud is evolving. Fraudsters are now using social media, chat rooms, and search engine optimized websites to promote their scams.